Welcome to the 700 Club. The frontrunner to become the next mayor of New York City is a man who is opposed to Israel. He's also accused of anti-Semitism while he's campaigning in the city with the world's largest Jewish population outside of Israel.
Zohran Mamdani. He is the Democratic candidate for mayor, and he even has the support of some Jewish New Yorkers. Dale Hurd has the story.
The winner of New York's Democratic primary says if elected mayor, he'd arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever sets foot in the city. Zohran Mamdani also declined to condemn the phrase globalize the intifada 3 times on NBC's Meet the Press, a slogan which means a worldwide attack against Israel and the Jewish people.
Do you condemn that phrase, globalize the intifada?
Ultimately, it's not language that I use. It's language I understand there are concerns about. And what I will do is showcase my vision for the city through my words and my action.
Here's a Mamdani social media post making fun of Hanukkah. He's also been an outspoken supporter of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, which seeks to isolate and destroy Israel. And during the Democratic primary debate, he refused to recognize Israel's right to exist in its present form. Still, Zohran Mamdani insists he's not anti-Semitic and would work to protect the city's Jews.
Every anti-Semite that I've ever come across in my life says they're not an anti-Semite.
Former New York State Assemblyman Dov Hikind, the founder of Americans Against Anti-Semitism, says Mamdani should be judged by what he's done, not by what he says.
If you join people who are chanting vicious anti-Israel, anti-Semitic chants, you're part of that, whether you say the words or not. So, just a week ago, he said, I'm going to set aside more money than ever to fight anti-Semitism. The only thing is, he's the problem. He is the problem. He represents the outbreak of Jew hatred in America, in New York, that we have never seen before, not in my lifetime, that's for sure.
Daniel Greenfield, a former New Yorker, is CEO of the David Horowitz Freedom Center.
The question is, does he support the murder of Jews? Whether or not you consider yourself technically an anti-Semite does not matter very much.
What has been perplexing for some has been the Jewish support for Mamdani.
I'm a Jewish New Yorker. I'm a Jewish New Yorker. I'm a Jewish New Yorker.
I'm a Jewish New Yorker. And I'm ranking Zohran #1 in the Democratic primary on June 24th.
We asked Hikind what he makes of it.
Honestly, I'm not shocked by any of it. It's part of Jewish history that we have people who betray the Jewish people.
Polling shows most Jewish voters support former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo by a wide margin. He's running as an independent after losing to Mamdani by more than 12 points in the primary. Greenfield is skeptical of sizable Jewish support for Mamdani because so few New Yorkers voted in the primary.
He won with very minimal turnout. About 5 to 7% of New Yorkers actually voted for him.
A socialist, Mamdani is also under fire for wanting rent freezes, city-owned grocery stores, and for this statement.
Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires.
Don't underestimate this guy. The guy is smooth, he's suave, he speaks well. More dangerous than almost anyone else that I've come across in a very, very long time.
The Mamdani campaign did not respond to our request for an interview. Meanwhile, New York's Jews and non-Jews are mobilizing to try to keep Zohran Mamdani from winning. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Well, this obviously concerns me. If you're part of the Democrat Party, it should concern you. If he becomes the standard bearer for the party, what does that mean in future elections? And you've got to hold the line here. This is intolerable. Israel has a right to exist, and that right exists under international law, going back to the League of Nations, going back to the United Nations in 1948. Israel has a right to defend itself. And when you come against that basic right and say, no, Israel should be wiped off the map and we support intifada, that means you support the destruction of the Jewish state and the massacre of all the Jews who live there. How is that not anti-Semitic? And it just is, it's mind-boggling to see how far the sort of extreme end of the Democrat Party has gone to be anti-Israel. The United States needs to stand. It's our only ally in the region. And we need to understand, if you support democracy, if you support freedom of religion, if you support freedom of assembly, if you support women's rights, well, then you support Israel. It's a lone beacon in the Middle East. Well, in other news, Benjamin Netanyahu's government is down to a razor-thin majority. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. The Prime Minister's party has a one-seat majority after an ultra-Orthodox party pulled out of his governing coalition. All of this comes as Israel strikes Syrian forces near the border and violence surges in the West Bank. Chuck Holton reports.
Israeli warplanes struck Syrian government positions in southern Syria this week, just miles from the Israeli border. The airstrikes targeted regime forces accused of backing tribal militias attacking Druze civilians in Sweda province.
The truth is that the de facto authority is an exclusionary power and cannot execute. The promises it made to European countries and America are contradicted by what is happening on the ground, which goes against all the promises and commitments it made. It is unable to control those groups.
Israel says the strikes were necessary to enforce the demilitarized buffer zone and protect Druze residents. But reports say the bombing campaign was paused at the request of the United States, who feared further escalation. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now facing a serious political crisis. The ultra-Orthodox United Torah Judaism Party has officially left the coalition over a proposed draft law that would require yeshiva students to serve in the military. That move drops Netanyahu's majority to just 61 seats, barely enough to govern, and it's already sparking celebration among some Orthodox communities.
They want to recruit us in the army and to destroy us. And thank God we welcome them, that they've returned to us. They made the best move they could have done.
The fallout could complicate ceasefire talks with Hamas and give far-right members of Netanyahu's coalition even more leverage to push for a prolonged war in Gaza. And in Judea and Samaria, tensions are boiling. A Palestinian American was shot and killed near Ramallah, prompting Ambassador Huckabee to call for an investigation. Meanwhile, church leaders are accusing Israeli authorities of allowing violent settler attacks after an assault on the Christian village of Taibe.
Simple people, farmers, that they are under attacks from those radical groups, that they take the law in their hands and do all sorts of things, right? And therefore, it's part and parcel of our moral obligation to raise our voice and awareness.
The Knesset is now preparing hearings on full Israeli sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, even as violence across the region continues. From Jerusalem, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Thank you, Chuck. Well, back here in Washington, the Trump administration faces mounting calls to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. President Trump has stood by Attorney General Pam Bondi after she announced she won't release thousands of files and videos. She says they contain graphic details about child abuse. Top Republicans like House Speaker Mike Johnson and Missouri Senator Josh Hawley are breaking with the administration and calling for more information to go public. Last night, the president expressed surprise at the intense interest in Epstein, while also prompting the AG to be more forthcoming.
He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release.
During the 2024 campaign for president, Mr. Trump pledged to release the files. MAGA commentators and podcasters are slamming the decision not to make them available now. Well, a popular aid program that faced elimination even though it saved millions of lives now has a chance of survival. PEPFAR, a program fighting HIV/AIDS, is credited with saving an estimated 26 million people worldwide. The Trump administration had proposed cutting the program as part of a bill clawing back about $9.5 billion in federal spending. Now, the White House reportedly has agreed to leave the $400 million in PEPFAR funding in place. However, the updated measure still has to pass both the House and Senate.
There's a lot of interest among our members in doing something on the PEPFAR issue, and so that's reflected in the substitute. And we hope that if we can get this across the finish line in the Senate, that the House would accept that one small modification that ends up making the package still about a $9 billion rescissions package.
And Gordon, lawmakers hope to pass the Senate version by week's end.
I, for one, support this. We need to fund this. Without it, millions of people would die. And I just don't understand any argument that that's okay. On top of them dying, it leads to the spread of that horrible disease. And until we can have a cure, until we can have some kind of vaccination for it, we need to do everything we can in order to contain it. If the governments in Africa could get together and fund it on their own, I'm all for that too. But in the meantime, let's protect life and let's stop this dreaded disease.